That's a lovely ball back to Monreal. He's got Giroud with him, bypasses him to find Wilshere, and Wilshere slots it into the corner of the net to give Arsenal the lead. Here's Giroud to make it 2. He has. What a disaster for Aston Villa. 2 goals conceded in the space of a minute. The caller shows him battling for the ball as well, but he's given it away to Lowton. Good cross as well, Benteke!
Hello, welcome and good evening. We're coming to you just after the 2-1 victory over at Villa Park. On the line tonight, we've got myself, Giles. We've got Akil, who's coming live from the game. He's just now left the Villa Park. How you doing, Akil? Akil, can you hear us?
Mate,
Good. All right. We've also got Leo. You there?
Yes, I'm here.
Good. And Callum.
Hi, mate.
Great stuff. Right, so 2-1 victory. First half was sublime. I thought Callum was on course to make good his prediction of a 4-0 win. 2 great first half goals. Wilshere looked on fire. For me, the only downside was coming out of the second half. Wenger having trouble with his zip, and I thought, well, can somebody else buy him a coat with buttons? Second half, I don't know what happened. Started poorly, scrapped, placing, and nearly paid for it. So just start with you, Ax, who was there at the game. How did you see it?
Well, first half was quite comfortable. To be honest, before their goal, it was comfortable. But suddenly, a goal for them, and the game changed. And it was heavy.
Yeah. Cool.
Sorry, I'm just getting on my training at the same time.
This is great stuff. Callum, what did you make of the game?
Yeah, as you said, I was feeling pretty good about myself. Our first 45, I thought, right, 2-0 win, looking good. I think we're on for 4, but second half was pretty insipid, and it does worry you. But I think the difference between what we have now and what we had perhaps a year ago or 2 years ago was that when we, take the lead and drop off a bit, we at least have a quality defence to clear the ball, to hold, really keep them away. And apart from that second header Benteke had, they didn't really create an awful lot, so that's good. At the end of the day, it's a win, and after everyone else that won this weekend, all we had to do was get the 3 points, and it's another away win, back to top of the table yet again. And whilst I would have loved a 4-0 win, we'll look back in a week or two and we won't forget, we won't remember the performance so much. It will just be the result. But there was plenty of good performances in there. I thought Wilshere was great, Flamini was solid, Giroud looked the best he has done for many weeks. Mertesacker, as I said, was brilliant. The whole defence really. So a lot of good performances. The only player that troubled me a bit was Cazorla, whose passing was way off, and obviously him dallying on the ball with making a poor pass was why they scored. But sometimes we seem to be doing a lot this season, not playing well and still winning. You do get a bit worried that we're not really stepping it up yet, but 3 points and we move on to the next one.
Cool. Leo, we had 71% possession in the first half. We were cruising. What do you put down the second half display down to?
I don't know if I can, speak from, my armchair at home, but it's, it kind of played out like I had anticipated yesterday. I thought we were going to get an early lead. The goals came a little bit later than I had hoped for. And then I figured that we'd kind of, put it in the second gear and kind of coast home. Second half, I thought the third goal would go to us. I didn't think it would be quite that kind of display. I thought our class would shine through a bit more than it did. It was, far nervier than I would have had hoped. But, at the end of the day, we got the 3 points. That's all that really matters. But it's, not the type of display you would have hoped for sure.
Mm. Absolutely. I mean, for me, I think Wilshere was absolutely sublime the first half. He scored a great goal after. I know you mentioned, Cal, that Cazorla had a poor we had poor games, his passes were quite awry, but I have to say his interplay with Nacho in the lead up to Wilshere's goal was quite beautiful. Well,
that was Özil, wasn't it? Who played the ball?
Was it Özil?
Özil played that through ball to Nacho, yeah.
Okay, it was Özil, definitely.
Yeah, he was the one who made the pass to Nacho before.
Okay.
But I mean, yeah, Cazorla he did link up well with Nacho. We looked dangerous down that side. I just felt he was a bit sloppy in possession, and on his day, Cazorla, he's incredible. But when he's off his day, sometimes a bit too much of the fancy stuff. At times when we need him to just be a bit more straightforward.
I suppose it goes back to what you were saying yesterday about, last season he was the man, like he was the made man, and this season if he drops off a bit, we've got other players that can cover that. When he's misfiring a little, and definitely today, Wilshere fought Giroud in the first half. I think in fact for the whole game, Giroud kind of battled manfully.
He did, yeah. He looked like he was running through walls, throughout the game, and he looked fresh. And he perhaps was a bit fatigued, but with Santi, as we were saying last season, he really was the creative hub of the team. And now we've got, Özil and Rosicki's had a great bit of form, and now, Wilshere in Ramsey's absence has been brilliant as well. I think there's no coincidence that his best performance this season certainly was probably in the West Ham game, and that's when he played through the middle. I know a lot of people think he's good on the left, and I think he has had many good games there, but unfortunately we can't play both Cazorla and Özil in the middle because we need a bit more width.
I suppose the canoe was they have been interchanging.
Definitely. They're popping up all over the place.
So that's the good thing about having that such versatility amongst them.
But I'd like to see someone who's more inclined to run down the line, someone like Podolski or Chamberlain. Now he's back on the left side, but it's difficult because certainly he scored a great goal against Tottenham. As I said, was superb against West Ham, but today just didn't seem on the ball. And I'm not one of these people that wants him, thinks we can replace him, whatever. I think he's one of our best players, and but players go through these spells. Giroud was poor for a few games, and he's now scored 2 and 2. So it's just the way football is, and I've no doubt that we'll see the best of Santi before the end of the season.
Well, I don't think he had a poor first half today either. I think the poor second half overshadowed how he played the first half. I think the first half he was, closer to his peak.
No, I'd agree with that. I just think you could tell some days when he's just not on his game, and I think in a way Özil was as well. He made a few. He wasn't quite. I don't think he made quite as many straight passes as Cazorla, but some days, some days. Both of these players, the ball looks like it's glued to their foot sometimes. But today there was just the little odd passes, and you do think, they're not. And there's been a few times this season where bats have been a little bit off their game, but there's such things. You when they're at their best, they really hit amazing highs. So you're kind of inclined to expect it every week. But and the thing with Özil was as well, he didn't play particularly brilliantly today, but he won great through ball to Nacho, and then obviously the pass to Wilshere, and it's a goal. So that's really what your money gets you with Özil. It's not necessarily a player who's going to dominate games, but it's someone who can pop up when we need him just to make that killer pass or score that goal that we need to win. So, not too worried by any of it.
Second half, like I said, we were scrapped out. I mean, I try and look at games, and as I'm watching games, I try not to get down and depressed and pissed. You go on some of that Goodness World, and there's loads of pessimists, and they just drag the mood down. I can only imagine what they were saying in the Matchday Live forum. But I try to remain positive and not trying to get you down. But you got to say, we started off the second half complacently, like as if we thought we'd won the game. The game was wrapped up, and we never really got out of second gear. And we gave Villa a lot of encouragement. I think Mo said a couple of weeks ago, or I think in the first show of this year, that we're now inclined to give teams more possession, and having come from 29% possession in the first half, the overall, I think Aston Villa had overall 36% possession, so they obviously had a lot more of the ball in the second half, and it showed. And it's once you start off scrappily, it's really hard to sort of click back in. You can't always switch the light, flick the light switching, click into gear, and it really showed. It was really evident. Do you worry that we might continue to show this kind of form against the lower teams? Because, Carol, yes, you said last night, we're due to really give a team a tonking, and really, with no disrespect So we need the lower, like the bottom half of the relegation scrap is really and truly, when you're coming from a 2-0 advantage, you should really kill teams off. What do you reckon?
It's odd because in some ways you look at it and think, well, it's only a matter of time before we get caught out. But, you know, how many times has this happened? And every time we've seemed to have won, you know, we really have made it a good habit beating the smaller sides. I mean, you look at our last few results, you know, we beat West Ham 3-1 after going a goal down, grounder, a victory at St James's Park, beat Cardiff with 2 late goals, and then we've won tonight in a pretty scrappy way. So, I'm inclined to think that eventually we will get caught out if this kind of thing continues, because as good as the defence has been, as I said, it only takes 1 minute of brilliance from one of their players, or a bad refereeing decision, or even just a lapse of concentration for one of our players, like what Cazorla did, and suddenly it's 2-2 and we've dropped 2 points. So, it is a concern. I think we need to. We need to learn that when you go 2-0 up. I mean, towards the end, after we scored the 2 goals, the 5-10 minutes after that, we played some really nice stuff, but it was all a bit showboaty. And it's, you know, and you get the impression that Manchester City are very good at this. They just it's 2-0 and suddenly it's 3, then it's 4, and then it really is game over. And if you remember, it really, reminded me of the Marseille game when we won 2-0. But for a large period of that game, we went 1-0 up when Jack scored in 30 seconds. And then we just seemed to, we played amazing football, but I kind of felt the whole game, hold on, it's only 1-0. And they had a couple of chances, and, you know, we really started playing some beautiful good football, and we won the game in the end. But you can't afford to do that when you haven't put teams to bed. And in the Premier League, when there's a hell of a lot of good players, and, you know, the game can change so quickly, you've got to be more clinical. And, I don't think we've got lucky at this point, because I felt like we deserved to win most of the games we've won. And the defence has been brilliant. You've got to give credit for that. But we really need to be able to start putting 3 or 4 goals past teams when we take the lead, rather than kind of coast a little bit at 1 or 2-0.
Okay, Leo, Benteke scored a header. We were coming under quite a lot of pressure. I thought Santi was a bit slack, giving the ball away. He had a chance. I mean, he picked the ball up. He should have cleared. He tried to be a bit cute. He got nicked. The ball got nicked off of him. They swung the ball in. Benteke puts his head on it. It's now, you know, it's anyone's game. He's had another chance later on in the match. That goes to 2-2. It's a different game. You know, as I was asking, and Callum, do you think that, you know, I mean, I know things have changed, whereas last season and this season's gone by, we may have not have got the 3 points from that match, but is it anything to be worried about? Is it nothing to be unduly concerned about? We'll turn up in the next match, which is against, I can't remember who it is against Fulham now. Fulham next Saturday, and we'll put them to the sword, no problem.
Well, I mean, that's something where you have to have somebody take up a little bit of leadership in the squad, and I think, you know, crack the whip and get everybody's focus back where it needs to be, and I think that Mertesacker is the type of player to do that. And if you don't have somebody within the squad doing that, then it falls to the manager. I'm not concerned because, you know, it's not been a reoccurring theme throughout the entire season. You know, it's just been a couple one-offs here and there. And when you compare the, you know, amount of mental mistakes and mishaps that we've had this year compared to last year, we've definitely cut down on that quite a bit. You know, I think they were banging about the number throughout the season last year of how many times an individual mistake had led to a goal against us. And this year you haven't been seeing that anywhere near as much. You'd really like to see that completely eliminated, though. You know, that's just professionalism, for, you know, lack of a better term. You're out there to play football. What difference does it make? You know, you got to put in that same effort from the opening whistle to the final whistle. You can't let up at any point, and I think that you definitely saw that today.
Yeah,
without a doubt, and that needs to be curtailed or completely eliminated as quickly as possible.
Yeah, like I said earlier, Giroud had another good game. Yeah, I think he came back a bit refreshed. He certainly seemed to benefit from not playing against was it Tottenham?
Yeah, he was ill
the other day. Yeah. He was quite manful. He scored 9 goals, same amount of goals as Negredo. He's still quite a divisive figure in terms of people's opinion of him. Do you think, Leo, that you know, we can not muddle, but we can sort of pick our way through to the end of the season without trying without getting a backup, just trying to sort of preempt or sort of, look into Wenger's mind. Can you see him not bringing in somebody else and going with what we've got?
Can I see him doing it? Unfortunately, yeah, I probably can see him doing it. I don't want to do that because, we've gotten away with, just basically having one out-and-out striker for the entire first half of the season, fortunately, because no serious injury has befallen Giroud. If something were to happen the second week of February where he were to be out for the rest of the season, we could be in quite the bind. I'm not going to try to read Wenger's mind and figure out what he's going to do this January, but I'd like to think that he understands the situation where if something were to happen, where we would be, and he feels the need to go ahead and do something as quickly as possible to rectify that by bringing some cover in. I don't know if we need or can find a replacement in this transfer window, but some cover for Giroud, I think, is definitely necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Time will tell.
Yeah, time will tell. Cal, the post-match, I don't know if you saw Jack Wilshere's post-match interview. They were asking him, do you see yourself? I think they said, where do you see yourself? And he said, I'm an attacking midfielder. Mm-hmm. I'm not a DM. He's had discussions with Wenger, with the boss man, and he doesn't mind playing, wherever the boss man puts him, but he sees himself as a central midfielder or an attacking midfielder. Do you think he's enhanced his claims for a starting position in the team?
Most definitely. I think obviously losing Ramsey was a big blow, because he's such a good player for us. But when he was injured, I said at the time that this is a big chance for Wilshere because he's going to get a chance through the middle. And predominantly this season he's been used on the right or all over the place really. Because really you can't drop Ramsey and you need to play either Arteta or Flamini next to him because Wilshere and Ramsey in the midfield was what we used against Villa on the opening day and we lost 3-1. It's just far too porous. It's a great, we've got this, I was saying, I was sitting with my dad watching the game, I said, we've got, when Ramsey comes back, what do you do? Because as you said, you've got to play one of Arteta and Ramsey. Arteta and Flamini, sorry. But now Wilshere's been probably our best player the last few games. He was great against Cardiff. He scored a good goal today, great assist for the second.
Yeah.
And you don't really want to take him out the middle. You can move him onto the right, but then you've got to drop Gnabry or, we've got a great midfield. We've known it all season, but Wilshere's really, I think, had his best spell the last few weeks. He's started to add goals in, and what impressed me most about his goal was that not only is he making that run into the box, he had the composure to control the ball, and rather than just snatch at it, which would have been very easy for many players to do, he knows Guzan's coming, he knows where the thing is, and he's just put it into the bottom corner with no effort at all, really. And that's not easy to do, especially for a young man. A lot of players just put their foot through it and hope for the best. So, he, a lot of people have kind of, we've spoke about this before, have kind of pushed him to the side a little bit because Ramsey has come to the fore. But really what I think has happened is that Wilshere is no longer, the last hope for Arsenal. We have so many good players now, especially in the midfield. So, I think he's coming along really well. I think he needs to sort it, as we spoke again in the past, his temperament needs to be sorted out a little bit, but today he was brilliant, and I'm excited to see what Wenger's going to do now that Ramsey's close to returning and Chamberlain's back. We've got a real selection headache, and going back to the striker issue, I think really with the way Gnabry's been playing, I think Wenger, if Walcott hadn't got injured, would have been tempted to play Walcott as a striker from here on in. And I still would have liked, even if Walcott hadn't got injured, I would still have liked to have seen him get a striker, but I would have perhaps understood his reasoning for going ahead with Bentner and Walcott and Giroud as our strikers, because I think Walcott was great against Spurs. But yeah, again, hoping that we get someone because Giroud and Bentner isn't enough depth.
Okay. So let's take stock and review our match predictions. Did anybody take note of it last night? I know.
I know my one.
You was 4-0.
Yeah. I did say Giroud would score, so.
Yeah.
I believe you in fact said that the score would be 2-1.
No, it was 2-0, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah, I think I went 2-0 with
change your mind then.
Yeah, I changed my mind. I think before the pod I said 2-1, and then Akil said 2-0, and I said 2-0 as well. I should have gone 2-1.
I think we went down. It was me 4, Akil 3, and then you 2. Yeah. I can't wait to see
I had 3-0.
Or maybe it was you had 3 then. Maybe Akil had 2.
Yeah. And what did Mo have?
Mo, I think, sent out a tweet of 3-1.
3-1. Okay, so none of us.
But the results were all correct.
Exactly. The outcomes.
Yeah,
exactly. Okay, so let me ask you then, Leo, who's your manager? Who's your personal man of the match?
I've always kind of tended to lean towards the defensive side of the ball, and I think that tonight I'd go with Murdersacker. I know he was slightly beaten on the goal, not because of anything that he did, I feel. No. And overall for the season, he and Koscielny have had quite the partnership at the back, and we're not where we are without those two back there for the vast majority of the season. So, you could really pick from a handful of players tonight, but I feel that, the late pressure was weathered in large part because of Murdersacker. So for me, he's my man of the match.
Cool. Cal?
Yes, sir. I was just saying that was his 100th game for us tonight as well. So, he's been such a big player for us. For me, Murdersacker would be my second choice, and I would go with Wilshere. I think he played really well, just in his all-round play, but you look at the goals, as I just said, he took the goal really well. And for Giroud's one, he's really picked him out with a great ball there. I think it was one of his best performances in an Arsenal shirt tonight, and, he battled well. He chased all up and down the pitch, and he looked a constant threat when he was coming forward with the football. So I'd give it to Jack.
Well, they say strikers win games, but defences win championships.
Exactly.
Yep. And I've been saying for some time, I think that he and Koscielny formed the best central defensive partnership in the league. Yeah. And when the shit was hitting the fan and backs were against the wall, Mertesacker was head and shoulders above everybody else when it came in.
Quite literally.
It's not many, literally. Yeah. It's not often when, you see Benteke with the bit between his teeth, and the bit was between his teeth, so especially when he got the goal that, he usually gets the better of centre-halves, but I think, Mertesacker stood up to him very well, whilst marshalling the defence. So for me, I love the way Jack played tonight. I think he took his goal brilliantly. As you said, the assist was sublime. But I think for me, Mertesacker shades it. And I mean, just from even the pre-match where he was advising Gnabry, what to do in the pre-match warm-up, right through to, lambasting whoever it was for not doing their defensive duties. He's really turning into sort of a Tony Adams.
He is. Well, I think he cited Tony Adams as being a big inspiration for him.
Yeah.
And he's so much more than a great defender. He is just an absolute leader on and off the pitch, and
he seems to really. I don't know. I imagine that he has that Arsenal ethos, that DNA, if you want.
He does seem to be the consummate professional, doesn't he?
Indeed. So, okay, cool. So that pretty much wraps it up. I suppose, look, we're back at the top of the table. 3 points is all that counts. Exactly. Whether you get it playing, sexy football or not, Oh, Akil, just in before the bell rings. Who was your man of the match tonight, Ax?
My man of the match? Oh, bloody hell. I thought Giroud gave it a good go. I mean, to be honest, for the stats, it has to be Wilshere, I guess. Assist and a goal. I mean, it was his assist, right?
It was his assist, exactly.
Wilshere, maybe. Saying that, I thought Koscielny and Mertesacker were quite good at the end. I know, I've got to think about that one. Who did everyone else go for?
Callum went for Wilshere, and me and Judd went for Mertesacker.
Yeah, okay. So between them and Giroud, we have it covered.
Right. So who are you picking then?
I'm picking Wilshere just because of the goal and the assist.
Right. That's even. That's an even split then. It's an even. I just want to ask you before you go. Yeah. I noticed parts of the second half. The away fans were in good voice. Were singing, only one Pat Rice and Theo. What was it like over there in the Whitton Lane end?
Yeah, it was a very good atmosphere. I thought Villa were absolutely quiet until the Benteke goal. But I mean, the Arsenal fans were in good voice. There was a little bit. The second half was good. Just before Benteke scored, there was a little bit of people were sort of showing, the fingers like it's 2-0 and saying let's all do the Theo. And as you mentioned, the one Pat Rice song, which is I think sung in pretty much every away game there is. But yeah, the Arsenal fans were in good voice tonight, and I think it was a big game today as well. With all the big boys winning, I think Arsenal really had to win today, because if they hadn't, I think then mentally it may have affected them. So I think fans have gone home very happy. Oh, I certainly have.
It's going to be a good 1 hour, 45-minute journey back on the old to Euston tonight, I take it.
It's the last race, it's about 2 hours, 15 minutes.
Oh no, you're stopping every stop.
We stop at every stop and we get back when the underground is finished, so.
Oh gosh. Well, at least you go home with a victory, smiling, do you know what I mean? Alright, so that was Akil. Good stuff. Alright, so fellas, we'll convene again later in the week. Alright, so that's good night from Callum.
Yeah, good night. Good
night from Judd.
Night.
And Akil has already said his good night. He's stopped again, so.
Well, you're long night with him.
That. Yeah, exactly. Alright then, I'll speak to you soon. That's been the Good Ramble, an AFTV podcast.